small firms and the wonderful opportunity that exists in small firms today with Jason Blumer. Last call out about Accounting Fly for the week. If you haven't built a profile, please do so. There's a couple benefits to doing that. One, with an Accounting Fly profile, you can apply to all of the jobs on our site. Secondly, recruiters can find you, and that may be beneficial to you today as a student, or maybe if you already have your job, it will be beneficial to you in 2 years or 5 years, whenever you decide to look for another opportunity. You want to be connected with recruiters, and that's who's on our site. Secondly, the other benefit is we do a monthly scholarship for $500. We do a random drawing if everyone has a completed profile. It makes a lot of sense to do it, and be sure to include your hometown, because there are firms all over the country looking to connect with you based off of where you live, where you're from, and where you want to move to. So most everybody's been on the webinars this week. I want to ask you one last time, so we know who's on the call, what school you're at or where you graduated from. The way to do that is to use your question panel on the right-hand side of your screen. Go ahead and enter your college, and then hit return. That way you're going to know how to ask a question, because today's session we're going to want to ask a lot of questions. So, Jason, we got students or graduates from University of Minnesota, Duluth, East Stroudsburg University, of course that's in Pennsylvania, University of Minnesota, Nova Southeastern, Northwood University, Bryant University, Notre Dame de Namur. All right, Maxine, you got to chat me back and tell me where that is, because I haven't heard of your school before. University of Hawaii at Hilo. That sounds like a terrible place to go to college.
Yeah, really.
MBA from Cal State San Bernardino, Texas Women's University, Liberty, University of Kansas, Fort Atlantic, Southern Miss. Oh, you're just down the road, Gene. James Madison, Missouri State, Jacksonville State, Southern Connecticut, University of Wyoming, Sonoma State. That's another terrible place to be in college up in Sonoma. University of Central.
Near all the wine, right?
Right. University of Wisconsin, St. Francis in Brooklyn, Southern Oregon, Rochester, Florida Atlantic. Let's see, City University of New York, Baruch College, University of Texas at Arlington. Those are the best. That'd be the Mavericks, I believe. Nova Southeastern, Belmont, California, and Silicon Valley. That's cool.
Very cool.
Oh, I got you, Maxine. So Notre Dame de Namur is in Belmont, California, in Silicon Valley. Welcome. Jason, where'd you go to college?
I went to a small school in South Carolina. It's called Wofford College.
I know.
Just very small.
Somebody from Wofford who played football.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he lives in Pensacola here.
Yeah, great football team.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's been, historically been a pretty good team. It's crappy for accounting.
Okay, that's too bad.
I shouldn't say that, should I? I don't know.
Well, that there's an implication of that, but I'm sure that you, despite that, taught yourself how to be a great accountant, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I mentioned earlier how small firms are incredible, I would say a gold mine of opportunity. Jason is frankly going to be talking to those of you who are entrepreneurial minded. And I think it's important that you assess yourself to see if you are, if you're not, because clearly, guys, this is an incredible opportunity in small firms, but no one is telling you about it. No professors are telling you about it, and certainly the employers at the large firms aren't telling you about it either. And so you've got to investigate this for yourself, and today is going to be the first step of that. Jason Blumer is out of Greenville, South Carolina. I'm going to let Jason tell you his story, but I can tell you just a few highlights. Jason's a CPA. He founded his own CPA firm, but as well, not only his own firm, but the Thriveal Network, which he's going to talk about, which is a unique community of entrepreneurial and creative accountants. And they are doing some remarkable work in helping accountants be entrepreneurial. Jason's passionate about small firms. He's passionate about entrepreneurship. I would say that he owning a small firm and serving clients, mostly virtual, he thinks he has the best job in the world, and I think he might be right.
Yeah.
And he wants you to take a close look at entrepreneurial opportunities in accounting. Jason, I'm gonna get out of the way, but I really am excited to hear what you have to say. I'll be back for Q&A, and please, guys, ask questions. We're gonna leave a lot of time because today's gonna be more relaxed. We're gonna have a lot of Q&A, and we're gonna get down to the bottom of some serious questions about small businesses, small accounting firms, and entrepreneurship. So, Jason, with that, the floor is yours, and I welcome you to today's session.
Cool, Jeff. Thank you so much, dude. This is awesome. You know, like you, so I'll speak at accounting universities sometimes, and I'm talking about the entrepreneurial life you can live in running a firm, and people think I'm crazy. You know, I want to go to universities all over the world if I can and speak to accounting, you know, or speak to anybody in the school and say, you know, one of the most entrepreneurial pathways you can choose now is to become a public accountant. And people think that's weird. They really think that's odd, and I think it's because they don't actually know what's available to them. So, so this, obviously the title, Careers in Small Firms, or for Creative Entrepreneurs. So you can tell I am talking to entrepreneurs. What is an entrepreneur? You may find yourself being an entrepreneur if you don't, I mean, you question a lot of stuff, you know, from your employer. You're like, why are we doing stuff this way? You have a lot of ideas. You're not a very good employee. All these is what I was like when I was working in a larger firm. And of course, going through college, I was in rock bands and crap, and I had long hair and stuff, and so I didn't know what to do. I was just a very creative individual, always have been. Didn't know what I was going to do, so after playing in a rock band for 2 years, first 2 years of school, I had to pick a major. Crap, I didn't know what to pick. My dad was an accountant, so I figured I would pick what he was. So we're gonna go through my journey because I want you guys to see, you know, a lot of missteps I took, a lot of stuff I screwed up, a lot of new things I learned, and things like that. So hopefully it's going to be a fun journey just to tell you what a small firm is like, and how crazy you can do some crazy stuff in running a firm. You can truly be an entrepreneur. In fact, I believe our world is really in need of entrepreneurial public firms and leaders who run those firms, and that's because the world is changing. You know, technology is changing everything. We're creating more valuable companies that are better designed, that are actually adding more value to the lives of people all over the world. But these companies have a deep need for entrepreneurial accountants that think like them, take risks like them, know technology like these clients do. But all they have to choose from is the stodgy old white guys, and you know that stinks because there needs to be a stronger foundation of this creative entrepreneurial accountant to support the new entrepreneurial customer that's out there. And you'll see some of the things we've done were crazy and I didn't think would work. Actually, a lot of CPAs in town that know me told me things don't work. They love to say that. They love to say that won't work, but they don't know what they're talking about. It's because the customers are changing. That's what they're not realizing. And so customers are changing. All they have to choose from is a firm that looks like every other firm in America. And when you give them a new option, crap, they'll pay double just because you're different. And that's proper positioning and marketing. These are just things you learn as you take risks and stuff. So I think the small firm is where the entrepreneur should be. Actually, at the end of this thing, actually maybe not at the end, right now, I'm going to tell you to quit your job if you're in a firm. I'm going to tell you not to go into a large firm. If you're an entrepreneur, that's the person I'm talking to. And if you're not that entrepreneurial spirit, then maybe a lot of this talk is not for you, and that's fine. But if you are that creative entrepreneur, please, my gosh, please don't go work for a large firm. I swear, we need people like you running small firms because the customers in our marketplace, they are hungry. they were really hungry for a different kind of firm that is an entrepreneur like that. I promise we're doing it. And I'm going to show you as we go through some of this when I talk about some of the things we've done. So let me just give you a sense of my journey, just so you know kind of where I'm coming from. So I got out of school in '93. I'm 43 years old. So I call people old farts, and my wife reminded me. She said, "Well, that's you. You're now an old fart." So I have to remember that when I'm kind of busting on the what I call the OFWGs, and the OFWGs are the old fat white guys. That's the OFWGs are running firms today. Is kind of what I call them. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude. That's just kind of a little word we use to know kind of who's running firms now. But '93 to '98, I was in private accounting. I tried to get into a Big Four, and my grades sucked. Barely passed the CPA exam. Oh my gosh, that took me forever. So I couldn't get into a Big Four. Thank God I couldn't do that. But I did go to the private world of accounting, and my creative side started coming out. I was producing financial statements, the same financial statements month after month. Oh my gosh, it about killed me just producing the same thing over and over again. I'm just a guy with tons of ideas, and private accounting was not for me, and it's not for creative entrepreneurs, so I had to get out of there. And I didn't know where to go, but I went into a public accounting firm. I didn't know. I just needed another job because I hated the one I was in. So I went into public accounting, and I thought that's pretty cool. But it was like magic. It was cool because I started dealing with customers and clients and started talking to them in new ways, and that was pretty cool. And some clients would want to know what I'm talking about. They want advice, and I thought, well, cool, dealing with people. So in private accounting, I didn't get to deal with people. Just the president of the company and giving him financial statements. But in public accounting, I got to deal with obviously the public. And it was a region-wide firm in South Carolina, and I was one of the offices, and that office was kind of small. So I did a lot of things that I do now in my own firm. I got to do a lot of auditing, a lot of tax, some accounting, and I just got the full breadth of experience of running a small firm in that small office of the bigger firm. But the bigger firm was still that older culture. Started in the 70s. Again, it was okay for a while because it was a different thing than private, and I was like, this rocks. But they just started, they had always been doing things I didn't understand, but when I got more, I don't know, I let my creativity come out or whatever, I started asking more questions, and they don't like it when you do that. So firm owners don't want you asking questions because you're young and you don't know what the crap you're talking about. But that's not true. You need to be asking questions, and that's what creative entrepreneurs do. They can't help it. They got a lot of ideas. And so when you see something stupid, you're like, why are we doing this? It's kind of dumb, and clients hate it. Well, just shut up. That's what we always do. And, those answers aren't really good enough. So so I left. I said, dudes, I'm out of here. I said, give me a raise first. You should give me more money, because I started marketing and bringing in a lot of work, and I said, I want some of that. You give me some of that money. They said, okay, here's $1,000. I said, nope. So I quit. That was kind of not cool. So 2003, started running Blumer CPAs. My dad had a firm at that time, so I went to work with my dad. But he was just a very old school accountant, still, great guy. But he kind of had a small client base. He wanted something to retire with. So I came in and blew it up and, put some colors on the letterhead. I was freaking my dad out. He's like, this crap sucks. I'm out of here. So he retired, 5 years ago or something like that. But this is where I really started learning stuff. So let me give you a little rundown of my history at Blumer CPAs. 2003 to 2005, had no freaking clue what I was doing. Oh my gosh. So I left the last firm and was just a copycat. So I started copying what the last firm did. Why would I do that? I don't know. I didn't know what else to do. I kind of didn't like a lot of stuff they did, but I didn't know what the crap else to do. So I started copying them. And then 2005, 2008, I said, okay, hang on, I can do what the crap I want to do. This is my company. So I'm going to try some stuff. So those were my wilderness years, 2005 to 2008. I tried freaking everything. It screwed all kind of stuff up. I'm trying to sell crap to people. I don't know how to provide. Picking a niche. Like one niche I was picking was with some kind of Hispanic market. I couldn't even speak Spanish. I didn't care. I can do it if I want to do it. And so I tried it. That didn't work out. They want people to speak Spanish if you're serving serving their market. But you know what I learned in the wilderness years? I learned a few things. I can do what I want to do because it's my firm. So that's pretty cool. So I have the permission and the freedom to do that. I didn't have to follow a so-called rules of the profession. I don't hold a lot of rules within our profession very sacred because I believe a lot of them are broken and wrong. And now I know they are because I'm running a firm a lot more successfully. So I learned I could do what I want. I also learned you're not going to die if you try stuff. And I'll show you some other stuff I've done that was even crazier than some of these other things I did. So anyway, those are the wilderness years. 2008, though, I started kind of knowing what I was doing. And that's what entrepreneurs do. You try crap, you throw it against the wall, and you're always changing stuff. So really our culture in our firm is experimental, and our team knows that. They're actually supposed to be doing stuff they don't know how to do. And when we blow crap up, sometimes we have to pay money or penalties for a client. We celebrate those things. We go on a retreat with our team and go, she did something new and blew crap up, and we had to pay some penalties. Yes, that's like R&D cost. And that's what makes you better. It's so cool to celebrate some of those things. But 2008 to 10 is really where I started learning solid strategy. And not strategy of a firm. It's strategy of running a company. How do you run companies? How do you position yourself to be effective for marketing? How do you position yourself to be high value so that you can be high priced? And I learned some things that were broken about our profession, and timesheets and selling time is just a load of crap. It's the worst thing that's ever happened to us. There's some history as to where it came from, but it really is dangerous. It doesn't allow time for innovation. It really treats people like a resource, and I was being managed by a spreadsheet. You'll see some of this in a minute as I compare an old firm to my firm. But I started something called pricing. And what you do is you price. That's what you do. And pricing is a strategic looking forward to try to determine what is valuable to this customer. And how can we set a price to it before you do work? It's called value pricing. I'm not sure if you heard that term, but value pricing, there's a small grassroots movement in public accounting, in small public accounting firms. The big ones will never do this crap. So if you ever show this video to them, they'll think you're freaking psycho. And that's because the big four are so old school and they're so large that they can't change and pivot with changing times. And times are changing like freaking 80 million miles an hour. Entrepreneurs know that. So the speed at which you move and make changes will now forevermore be very constant and very fast. So if you're in a profession that is slow, you're in trouble, or you need to fix it, or you need to quit that crappy job and go work for yourself. So anyway, pricing is the strategic looking forward in collaboration with a client to figure out what is value to you. Has nothing to do with time, right? Because you can't sell an hour and it be valuable. Sometimes you're goofing off or smoking a cigarette, and that's not valuable. Sometimes you're doing great things with an hour. Sometimes you're tired and your energy is low, and that value of that hour is low, or how could you set a value for it even? Or sometimes the value of your hour is high. Anyway, it's just really, really arbitrary to sell your services, by time. I can talk a lot about this time thing. It also caps your income. So, for example, if you want to make more money, what do you have to do? You have to work more hours. I ain't doing that crap. Entrepreneurs don't do that. They're like, no, if I'm valuable, you're going to pay me more. It has nothing to do with how much time I put into stuff. So it's a sham. Selling stuff by time is a sham. Can you tell I have a strong opinion about that. So anyway, pricing is how you make more money, and it's how you actually deliver real value to a customer, because you have pricing conversations with people and you say, what do you value? So anyway, in these strategic years, we moved to the cloud. I'm surprised a lot of people in school don't know what the cloud is. It's like a tectonic shift in our world, moving from desktop technology to browser-based technology only, which is what Accounting Fly is, and which is what Xero is, xero.com. You guys have probably heard of that. It's beautiful accounting software. Xero is a strong partner of some organizations that I run. But the cloud, I started moving my firm to the cloud, and I did it for a reason, because I was going to shut my firm down. I was going to close the door. And it was just, I had a wild hair up my butt, and I said, you know what, I don't think I have to run a firm that has an office. And again, people are like, you're crazy. So it took about 3 years to get every single product I use into the cloud. We had to move our phone system into the cloud. So we had to get rid of a phone system. And you know, we screwed up all kind of stuff doing that, but we learned so much too. And I learned during these strategic years that I need help. I really didn't know what I was doing. And I had a lot of naysayers telling me, you can't. There are things you cannot do. And to a creative entrepreneur, if you say there are things you cannot do, they will laugh at you. They're like, I'm going to see for myself. And probably you don't know what the crap you're talking about anyway. So I was like, I've heard that before, and I know it's wrong. So I started reaching out to other CPAs, around 2008 on Twitter, and found out other CPAs, other younger CPAs about my age, were doing some of the crazy things I was doing. That was very interesting to me, because what we were hearing, just like this handful of people that I started meeting, we were hearing, you can't do things. Here's a list of things you can't do, and that doesn't make any sense, because who wrote those rules and where is that rule book? I don't know. Never saw it. So when you found other people trying new things, you're like, cool, you're doing that too. How is that working for you? And they're like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Well, Thriveal, that word is a word I made up. Instead of survival, why can't we live, instead of a survival mentality in business, which a lot of people have, why can't we have a Thriveal mentality? So we made the word up. Thrive is opposite of survive. So I started a community, Thriveal, in November 2010, I think. Sent out a big press release and said, hey, everybody, come join a community. It was free, and we're calling all creative entrepreneurs in public accounting. And you know what? There are some. It was a trip. They showed up. Anyway, we had a page at that time where you could sign up for this opening webinar that I was going to give, and the page got shut down because the traffic was so high, which was really a trip. I'm like, cool. So I've hit on something that was needed. So anyway, we launched Thriveal about this time, and Thriveal, I'm going to talk about it later, has really grown to this intense, deep, creative community of entrepreneurial, creative public accountants, all in 4 countries, from New Zealand, Australia, Canada, all over the U.S. And these people are just crazy people trying crazy crap. And we don't all agree with each other. We're like, you are crazy to do that, but do it and tell me how it works. And we're learning from each other, so that's cool stuff. All right, so then the next phase in my journey, 2010 to now, is really when we really figured out a lot of stuff. We closed our office July 2012. We just locked the door and walked away. And, there's a lot of prep to give our client base and let them know, hey, we're shutting things down. And people said, you're freaking insane. You're going to lose all your clients. We did. We lost a lot of clients. But we knew who we were going to lose, because those were the old school clients we didn't want anyway. We had started working with a lot of creative design firms during the strategic years, the 2008 to 2010. And you know what? They would call us. I'm in Greenville, and this is when we had an office, and they're in Seattle or whatever. They never said, now when do I get to meet you? Because they don't give a crap. And I was like, okay, this is cool. What if I shut my company down and nobody gives a crap if I'm virtual? And sure enough, nobody cared. Now, there were about 20% of our client base that we lost, and we knew we would, because those were the local people. But or during this time, we fully dove into our niche. We went really all in and said we serve exclusively only design and development agencies, design advertising agencies across the country. That's all we're going to serve. Nobody else can be a client. And then we went virtual. We implemented a ROW. ROW is a certain business model, and ROW stands for Results Only Work Environment. And you can read about it in a book called Why Work Sucks and How to Fix It. We've had the authors of that book speak at some of our conferences. But ROW is really about, in a company, all you care about is results. You actually define results for a team, and you care about nothing else. No time, no dress codes, no vacation, no comp time, none of this BS stuff that has nothing to do with running a company. You actually hire good people, and you say, I don't give a crap what you do. I don't give a crap when you do it. I don't care what you wear. I don't give a crap. All I care about is that you deliver intense results for our clients, and if you do that, we're going to be good friends. And then you get to live your life and do whatever you want. So anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But so let me just put together a few issues. I've talked about some of them, but why working in a large firm sucks totally, and how working for yourself is a lot better. So the old firm sells time, and time is a constraint that hems us all in. So time is not a value. Time is a constraint. We all have a constraint, right? And that's 40-hour work week, whatever. Whoever made up 40 hours a week, that's stupid. Congress codified that in the law. Well, that's dumb. Most stuff Congress does is dumb anyway. But selling time is not how you make money. You sell value, and that's what we do in our firm. You actually say what is valuable to you. And we're making up about 2 to 3 new services a year. When we sell stuff, we get clients, we figure out what they need, and we go, you know what? You need a 1-day transformation retreat. And they're like, what's that? Well, I don't know, but I think here's what we can do during that retreat, and it's $10,000. Do you want to buy that? And you know what? Not everybody buys it, but some people buy it, and then you change their life. And so we need to be making crap up that is more valuable than the typical traditional stuff we sell, which is also valuable. Accounting, tax, payroll, audit, that's valuable too, but there is limited value in some of that. It's the transformational stuff that really brings in good money. But it's hard to sell that stuff when you sell time, right? Because do any of you have the time code innovation on your timesheet? Can you turn in timesheets to the partner and go, about 20% of my time is for innovation and thinking and reading? Of course, they would think you're crazy. You'd get fired. But in fact, if at least 20% of your time is not devoted to new things, seeking out new values, you're going to be behind as a company. Duh. That's why most public accounting firms are way behind, way behind, dangerously behind. And I'm just telling you, the large firms can't keep up just because their business model is so bulky and huge, and they got 1 billion partners that have to vote on crap that makes no sense. They can't change. So if you're in a large firm, they're not set up to change. So just know that in a small firm, you get to change and pivot daily, because you will need to do that. In the old firm, I was treated like a resource. So the way they managed me was the spreadsheet. So here, hey Jason, here's your billable utilization spreadsheet, and you're supposed to be 80% billable. You were 73% billable. And I want to say I don't care. And are we rocking it for customers? And of course, all the firm had, the only tool they had was the spreadsheet. So you were a spreadsheet, and you know what? I am not down with that, because I'm a person. I'm very creative. I have a lot of ideas. I need room to share my ideas. We have to do that in our firm. We have to share it. We have to make room for shared ideas. The old firm, if you're in a big firm, you're going to learn one thing, one small thing. You're going to tick and tie cash on a big audit. That sucks. It's boring. I would jump off the building. But when you're in your own firm, you've got to learn everything: marketing, positioning, pricing, handling customer complaints, accounting, tax, payroll, delegating that crap to a team, teaching them and training them how to do it, installing new software, building process, all this stuff. But you know what? You become a rocking entrepreneur when you build this stuff and change it, because your clients are doing the same thing, and they get to say, how did you do it, Jason? And I get to tell them. I get to say, here's what I screwed up last week. Don't do that. But here's something I did, and it did help. And they go, cool. And they actually will pay me to do it. The old firm, you wear suits, ties, skirts, heels. Hated that. And I don't give a crap. Who cares what you wear? This shirt does nothing for my value to my customer. It's a freaking shirt. And stuff like, you can wear jeans on Friday is I don't know. Sorry. Dumbest thing I've ever heard of. I don't know why jeans are good on Friday and not Monday through Thursday. That stuff just convolutes my head, and I don't understand those things. They really drive me crazy. You're valuable or you're not. It really is that simple. You get paid to be valuable as an entrepreneur, or you will be fired by a client if you're not valuable. It really is like that. They really don't dibble and dabble in all of these clothing and your time off. That's just so inward focused that brings no value to how you serve customers. Old firms are scared of technology, and you guys may not know this if you've not been in firms, but this is a big deal in our profession right now. Moving to the cloud is all we hear about. It's really becoming a distracting discussion. The cloud is just the future. It is how we'll do software. I mean, it's just, okay. So when you figure that out, you just start operating on browser-based software. And you guys may think that's funny, but firms are so committed to getting a big circle disk in the mail, and they want to stick it in a computer and install crap on a computer. They just love that. They want to do it. They feel comfortable with doing it. And it really is just an old way to do things now. Moving to the cloud is just how you do it. That's really all that makes sense. The old firms look like every other firm, and that's really bad when you're trying to build a high-branded, highly valuable company. When you do that, you have to be very differentiated, different from a lot of your competitors. And if you look like everybody else, you're called a commodity, which means a customer can't pay you a higher price because you effectively deliver the exact same product as every other competitor in your market. And if that's true, humans will just choose the lowest price. That's called a commodity, and that is happening in our profession, but some are rocking that boat. You can be branded. You can go to our website, blumercpas.com, and the logo blinks, because who's that logo for? A lot of CPAs would see that logo and go, well, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But you know what? It ain't for you. I don't brand myself for other CPAs. I don't care what they think. We're branded for our customers, and we serve design firms, so our site has to be differentiated in a way to show we care about design and that it is for the niche that we've chosen to serve. So in your own firm, you get to do crazy stuff and put a video up on the front page of your website picking your nose if you want, as long as your market's okay with that. The old firm is really committed to whatever we did last year, which means we never change, we never grow, we never get better, we never test new ideas. Whereas in your own firm, as an entrepreneur, you find out quickly you have to take experimental risks. I wish we didn't have to take risks, but it is part of being an entrepreneur. So you're always trying new things, pushing new things out to the market, and when things break, you pull them back and you change it. Very incremental, small, experimental risks are what make you better. A lot of these million small changes and failures and wins make you very valuable and increase your price. Very exciting. It means, okay, this take experimental risk to me means I can do freaking anything I want. That might scare some people, but it gives me such comfort that I get to do, freaking really anything, and anything. You can do anything. It's like I get to choose my future, and it's so cool. So just a couple of topics in my firm, and I want you guys please ask questions because that's where we'll get the most value out of this. So I want to hurry up. I got maybe another 5 minutes. But Blumer CPAs is my firm. We've chosen a narrowly defined customer, which is agencies. We pitch high value, which means we pitch high price. So we want to get paid a lot more than most firms. And these are things we actually do. So I'm telling you things we do just to let you know kind of how we're different. We build a brand and set ourselves apart. We do that very intentionally on purpose. We're virtual. There are no offices. We don't have any offices. We have teams kind of scattered throughout the U.S., which means we can serve any client anywhere. So there are no boundaries. There are no zip code boundaries that we have to deal with, which just makes a lot of sense to me. Why would I want to serve in a limited market, which is a zip code? A zip code is a limitation to me. I don't like limitations. And it also means I get to hire anybody anywhere. I mean, hiring is wide open. This is the stuff Jeff is killing with Accounting Fly. He is allowing people to hire anyone anywhere, which is what we should be doing. This is the future. Our team is autonomous. We talked about a row. It means do whatever the crap you want. Here are some heavily defined results you must achieve. We have a project manager to kind of keep on top of our technical team to help them deliver those results. But we don't care about anything else that they do. And we build culture. It's very important that we do that. And yes, you can build culture online. You can be a virtual company and do that. It's a little bit harder. But I like online. I like virtual. Online and virtual, I'm not saying is the right way. I'm saying that is a business model you can choose as a firm. Not everybody does it, and it's probably not best for everybody. But for us, it was best. So we love being virtual. And we've made a decision. We don't take individual clients. We just said, you know what, the individual tax season is just a real burden to manage with the process. It's just a huge churn of activity, and we want high touch, face-to-face interaction, or camera-to-camera interaction with our customers. So we say we only take businesses. Now, we'll do the individual tax returns of the owners of those businesses, but we sign contracts with businesses only, and we basically pitch a price for what we want to do. We offer 3 options to every client. We say pick one. Sometimes they'll craft a 4th option, and we'll price that, which is fine. And then we get that price divided by 12, and we draft it. We don't send invoices. Invoices are something we don't send. I haven't for years. If you won't let us draft your bank account, then you can't be a client. So those are the rules. And it's not to say you have to do it my way because I want to be the boss. It's to say I know how to care for you. I know how to take care of you. And I'm going to lead you. You're not going to lead me because I'm the professional. I know what I'm doing, and I know how to change your life. And so there are some things you have to abide by to allow me to change your life. And price, we're going to get that out of the way. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to take that money monthly. And they agree to all that in a contract. So real quick, let me talk about the Thriveal Network. This is the creative network. It is exclusive and private. You have to be interviewed to get in. It's $110 a month. It is for firm owners, so you have to own your own firm. We used to brand it as the Thriveal CPA Network, so our Twitter handle is Thriveal CPAs. But not only CPAs can get in. It is for firm owners. So you got to be a firm owner, not an employee. You got to have you got to be the one that has to carry the burden of changing the strategy and carries the burden of serving customers. So let me just share a couple things of Thriveal. So there's a membership area. Again, that's the private, exclusive online area, like online boards, and we have moderators for that. We have a director of that to kind of support each other. We have an academy. That's where we give our CPE, continuing professional education, after you get your license. And again, we don't publish a bunch of boring classes in forestation accounting, which is, I don't know, that sounds boring to me. But CPAs will take any crap just to get their CPE, and that's not cool. So we just say, in the community, if we hear about a topic people are fighting about or talking about, we'll say, hey, let's teach it, and we'll teach a little 2-hour class just really among the community. And that's how we get our CPE, which is cool. We started a lab last year, and we actually have a director, and directors of all these run their own firms except the members area. My wife runs that. She's the relationship person, so she runs that community. But the lab is where we actually create experiments and take experimental partners concurrently through a designed hypothesis and an experiment. And what we're trying to do is lower the barriers to innovation, because innovation for our profession is so scary. Firms do not innovate. They do exactly what they've always done because it's scary. But we know the path forward is through testing and experimentation and innovation, creating new things, new value. And so we've created a division. And again, Zero is a partner of Thriveal. They really support a lot of these divisions. But the lab is where we test things out. Really cool. And we're launching the incubator. That Hope site will go up soon. But the incubator is like a 9 to 12 month course you can go through. And if you'll quit your job, which if you're working for a Big Four and you're an entrepreneur, I'm begging you to please freaking quit and start your own firm. The world needs you to do that. But the incubators, you go into the incubator and there's a director there that will lead you through an intense course to build a strategic enterprise that is creative, that will help you run firm in a new way for a new world and a new generation. And then we have a conference called Deeper Weekend in Greenville, South Carolina, every fall. This year it's in November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. You're more than welcome to come. That site will be up. It's $850 for a ticket. It will freaking change your life. It's very creative venues. It's like, I don't know, boot camp kind of stuff. It's just so freaking awesome. We're not in the hotel with boring skirted tables and jugs of water and those nasty mints that you got to freaking eat when you go to these hotel conferences. And just a couple of things, just to do some learning on your own. We have a blog on Thriveal. You see those at the bottom. Read that stuff. That's some of our guys writing some intense stuff. I write on the blog. We've had a podcast for 3.5 years. Me and another CPA do that. He's actually a comedian CPA. I know, what a trip. And then also, if you're interested in the incubator, if you want to start your own firm, you got to do that through the incubator. We're gonna keep you accountable and hold your feet to the fire to build a right enterprise. But you can go to thriveal.com/incubator and just sign up for an email list there. That's all you do, and we'll give you a little info, and we'll let you know when the incubator launches in a month or two. That's probably going to start around June. Okay, Jeff, I flew by this stuff. I hope there's a lot of questions. Here's some ideas for some possible questions. Just to probe you guys' mind. And you can reach me at Thriveal, info@Thriveal, and then on Twitter if you want. If I'm going to hand it back to you and see if we have any questions.
All right, can you hear me okay, Jason?
I can, yeah, thanks, man.
All right, cool. And I am sending to everybody the links that were on your site. I'm sorry, they were on your slide while you catch your breath for a second.
Sure.
And, yeah, okay, so the most important question is, do you think there's a company that just makes those mints in the conferences at the hotels, and they just have a monopoly on this? And how come by stocking that company?
Yeah, they're sending out 80 billion pound bags of this stuff to conference halls all over the world. Yeah, they got a monopoly. It's nasty stuff. I mean, I don't like it. So.
So we've got a lot of questions, man. I'm going to be selfish and take the first one, then I'm going to start getting the ones out of the way. But you talked about how you serve and it's high value, which means you can charge a high price. But Jason, what does high value mean? What is the value that you provide different than other small firms serving clients?
Yeah, so we have a purpose statement in our firm, and that's really to help creative business owners become mature owners. So our goal is to mature them, and so what we tell them is there are some, you're going to have to buy some high value stuff from us, like I do a lot of business coaching and some consulting, and so we kind of tell them you're going to have to buy that stuff because the thing that's high value is transformative, meaning we can say you will be a different person if you hire us than if you didn't. And if we can make that promise and actually deliver on it, we get to say, now our prices are double, but we're selling transformation. We're not selling tax returns. That comes with it, but that's not really what we're selling. We're selling a different person. So we can basically make the claim, you're better off hiring us than if you don't hire us. So if you say no to hiring us, you're actually going to be hurt. And really, our prices no longer are a cost to them. They become an investment. And if you can make those promises, then your prices just get to be at least double what other firms are. Does that help?
That absolutely helps. I think that's remarkable, and I think a comment that I wanted to make is, as you said earlier, if you can do this, you can do anything you want, and that is if you've ever started a company, there is a confidence that you get as a professional that no one else has, and
Right.
it's because you are doing it. You are results focused. You're not eating up the resources of an organization, and you are completely contributing to it, and it's a good
Yep.
feeling. I gotta
It is.
say. So Jason, you're telling me to quit my job. If I quit my job, how am I going to pay the bills while I'm getting clients to sign up for my new accounting practice?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when I say quit your job, that's the ultimate goal. But people in Thriveal do this all the time. They quit their jobs. We call them cliff jumpers in our community, and they do it in different ways. Some walk into the firm and go, "Dude, this place sucks. I'm out of here," and they go deliver pizzas. So they do that. Some take 2 years and they build up a client base on the side. Some save up money and do it. There's a few right now going through this process where a spouse has a job and they're kind of living off the spouse while they build their thing. So yeah, there is a process to quit a job. I know that. I have a family and I couldn't quit my job. But what I'm saying is, please, if you're the entrepreneur, please walk down that path. I'll help you. The director of the incubator will help you do that. But yeah, it is a process, and you do have to feed your family.
Yeah, I would suggest the putting 2 feet on either side of the fence, kind of straddling the fence until you have that
Good
piece
idea.
of it. Do you, a couple questions that I've seen is how do you get clients? And I thought, well, you didn't you make that obvious? You select a niche, and the clients should know who you are, but it's not that obvious, is it? I mean, tell me some stories about how you're acquiring clients, especially in the early days of Blumer CPA.
Yeah, no, it's real, God, it's really a deep question. Basically, it's a positioning question, and positioning is just marketing terminology to position yourself to your market accurately and clearly. So one thing that's really dangerous for firms right now is they're generalists. That means they feel safe in the fact that they serve anybody, anywhere, in any industry, when in fact, in positioning strategy, if you're for everybody, you're really for nobody. And so the first step you have to make is you have to be bold and courageous enough to choose a narrowly defined client and customer. And the more narrow you can get, the better. And typically, as you're running a firm, you kind of narrow your niche as you go. So when you finally find out that you only serve creative agencies, marketing becomes really easy. I mean, we don't follow anybody on Twitter that's not a marketing agency. I actually started a podcast with a design firm owner, and we talk about business. I get tons of business because I started a podcast with another agency owner. When I speak, I want to speak at creative conferences and talk about pricing and strategy and stuff that applies to these design agency owner businesses. So the first thing is to stop being a generalist, which big firms can't. They can't do that. But if you can, small firms should. Then it really makes your marketing easier. So basically, we're just always hanging out with people on Twitter, and we get most of our leads come from referrals or Twitter or our podcast or some kind of content I'm writing for some creative blog or something like that.
That's fantastic. Okay, kind of a sidebar question is, what is your description of a small firm? We're talking about small firms, but how do you field that question?
Yeah, yeah, that's good. I'm not sure. I don't know what the I don't know what the definition.
I answered that question, so I thought I'd give it to you and just throw the ball at you there, buddy.
Yeah, no, that's hard one. By small firm, I guess. I probably don't mean number of clients or number of people. So a small firm might have 20 people. I don't know. I think what I want a small firm to be is an entrepreneurial entity that can change, take risks, be experimental, offer new things, turn on a dime. So probably the ownership base has got to be pretty small, 1, 2, 3 owners. When you're getting into these CPA firms that have boards of owners of 5, 6, some are maybe older, some are younger. You're gonna just to move things forward. Everybody's got to vote. 3 agree, 3 don't, and nothing happens. So a small firm is an agile firm. Let me say that. And maybe the question is, well, what's an agile firm? It's one that can change easily. I don't know, Jeff. I don't know if you can answer that. You just as well. You could answer it probably.
I think when you and I are talking about small firms for this conversation, we're talking about firms as small as a sole practitioner, finding clients, serving them, and making enough money to
Yeah.
define small clients is probably between 1 to 5 CPAs on staff, if I had to
Okay.
guess.
There you go. And we have 4. Me, I don't do it. Just so everybody knows, I don't do any work in my firm. I don't do any. All I do is coaching and lead the firm in marketing. I don't do any payroll. I actually don't know what's going on. So there we go. Because I don't need to. And an entrepreneur doesn't have to know what's going on. That's scary, I know, but you actually don't have to know everything that's going on. You do have to stay on top of the things you're supposed to stay on top of, like the vision and the future. But yeah, if you hire good people, you can do that. Anyway, that's an aside. But we have about 4 CPAs, but I'm just one owner.
Got it. And we may go a minute or two over just
Sure.
to compensate with some of the questions. And by the way, everybody, if your question isn't answered, we're going to give you Jason's. There are probably a few that aren't answered. I'll give you Jason's email address, and you can follow up with him. I'm sure that's okay with you.
Yep.
For the 5 that don't. Here's a misconception: small firm owners don't make a lot of money. I got to go to the Big Four to get a good paycheck. I know that's not true. Would you mind sharing just a bit on some of the firms you work with and proving that theory to be not true?
Yeah. Yeah, that is a misconception. I guess I want to figure out why that's a misconception. Probably because every small firm owner does everything like a big Four, and that's dumb. The last people you want to follow and copy are the Big Four. They're bulky and big and yucky, and they can't change. But the small ones can just move so fast, and you can make a lot more money, especially when you stop billing by the hour. That's the first thing you got to give up, which is a huge hurdle to get over. It's very scary to try to do something like that if that's all you've ever done. But you can make a lot more money because what you do is you start, when you brand yourself and you build a high value firm, you get to double your price. So the reason small firms aren't making money is because their tax returns are 300, just like the other firm. But what I want you to do, and I coach a lot of CPA firms too, and I tell them, if another firm's charging 300, you need to charge 600. Now, it's not to stick it to the client, right? It's to offer more value. And they're going to make you have that conversation. They're going to say, your client's going to say, why are you charging me double? And you know what? That's a good question. And every small firm owner needs to know how to answer, why am I more valuable? So I think people aren't making more money a lot of times is because they think I have to work 80 hours a week during tax season. No. No, I'm not doing that. That's crazy. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. And you can double your prices because your value is double, and clients will pay it. Not everybody will pay it, but not everybody's your client either.
Right.
So I don't know. That's a deep question. We could talk a lot about that.
It's a great question, and it's a great answer. I mean, and I think what I think is coming across very clearly is that the more you focus, the more you're basically deciding who should and who should not be your client. People don't think about that, but
Right.
But by you deciding that in advance, it's determining the kind of business you're going to have. It sure is going to prevent a lot of headaches in the future.
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest things in running your own firm is the freedom and permission you have to choose the clients you want to serve. We built something called an onboarding process for clients. It takes about 3 to 4 weeks to get one client into our firm. And I mean, just go to any firm down the road and say, hey, let's build an onboarding process so that every client that comes in takes 3 to 4 weeks, and they'll think you're smoking weed or something. But I'm telling you, that 3 to 4 weeks is so highly valuable to prove your worth, to talk about your value, to influence the judgment that client can make on value, to give that customer the opportunity to see you as more valuable. We built in a lot of specific client touches during that process. We give a lot of comfort. We offer options. We give the client a lot of control, but we give them a lot of hurdles too that they jump over. And when they jump over them, their perceived value of our firm increases. It's all intentional. It's very intentional marketing. There's a lot of psychology behind pricing, and we teach a lot of those things. But so the danger is when a partner drop kicks a tax return into the firm and says, boom, y'all start billing. You can't do that and win. You'll never win doing that because you've made no assessment to that customer. You didn't make them come face to face with your value or make judgments that you're more. You have to charge them what everybody else charges. So, so the only thing you can do in a traditional firm is work more. That's how you make more money. You work your butt off more. And I'm like, you know what? Crap on that. I won't do this job if I have to work more to make more money. I want to be more valuable and make more money by being more valuable. And you know what? You can, and that's what I want everybody to hear.
This is my favorite comment and question of the many that we've received, but it says, Jason's story gives me hope, and it's extremely motivational. If I'm thinking about starting my own firm, what would be one of the most important things to think about while creating a business plan? And Jason, I'll add to that, I think the question is where to start. What is the most important thing to focus on for an aspiring small firm owner?
Yeah, no, that's cool. I was hoping I would find somebody like that, and I guess just first, let me tell you, you can do it. You can. You don't need any special skills. You just got to care about people. And you got to not feel bad that if you're high value, then people get to pay you more money. You just can't feel bad about that because it's true. Anybody can do this, and you do need help. I did. I still need help, and Thriveal is my community to do it. I guess here's what I would say. Quitting your job, I know that's a process. I know I have a family. There's no way I can just stop my income. So we know that's not true. But make a plan. So is it 2 years out? Cool. Well, then January 1st, 2017, 18, whatever, let's say that's the day you're going to launch. So let's back up from there. What are the things that have to be in place? What kind of income do you have to build? And then that's going to cause you to ask all the right questions like, well, can I build a book of business on the side as I work for another firm? I don't know. There are people that quit a firm and go work for a private company just so they can build their own firm. And listen, you need to take time to do that. I'm 43, and I'm going to be doing this until I'm 95. I've got 50 years to go. 1 or 2 years in a process of building the firm that's going to last you forever is worth it. You need to take those 2 to 3 years. And I would say the incubator is going to be what gives you that. It's going to help you build that plan, and it's going to hold you accountable to it. The incubator, we're going to ask you to actually turn in your notice. Or we're going to work through some of these things with you to help you build a proper plan, not some boring, stodgy business plan, but a real plan you can implement, and you're going to be held accountable to sticking to some of those things to achieve your goals. Because if you're the entrepreneurial CPA, I'm telling you, the world is really hungry for a new type of firm. They need something new, and they're ready to pay double for it. So I'm glad you're asking. Just be okay if it's 2 or 3 years out, and get with a community, and maybe start building something on the side as soon as possible, I would say.
I agree with that, and the follow-up to that question is from Mary, who's asking, okay, so I think it makes more sense to go ahead and start a job now and build up to this, which I think is wise, probably, especially for a recent grad. But what kind of job should she be looking for if she needs to have a job in order to transition over to her own firm down the road? I mean, I've got my opinion. She should probably start working in a small firm, because she would learn a lot about accounting and learn a lot about maybe what not to do if they're embracing some bad habits. What do you?
Yeah, Jeff, I think you're right. I think if there was a perfect route we could pick, if you're going to run your own firm, it would really be cool if you could learn on somebody else's dime and go work at another small firm. Just a warning, a lot of firms do not want you building your own firm on the side for obvious reasons. They fear you're going to take their clients. I don't want my team doing that either. I want them committed to my firm and my value and my brand, and build into the culture, and invest in our company. So, but most firms aren't like that. So it might be, if you can get with a firm that doesn't make you sign a non-compete, then work with that firm and build your firm on the side. Yeah, I'm with you, Jeff. If you can get some experience, get the experience. It'll also make you value. Yeah, you'll get to see a lot of the dumb things that our profession does, and I think that's very valuable too.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's do two more, and then we're going to break. And hopefully, if you got to drop, that makes sense. No problem. So there's another candidate out here who's inspired by what you're saying and is sort of asking a lot of questions like, well, what do I do now? How do I start? How do I coordinate? And I would imagine, I mean, this is probably an overwhelming message to hear. And what first? Well, I responded to her. I said, you need to join the incubator if you're serious about this.
Yeah.
But she wants to know, like, how does she coordinate all of this? Are there any books, resources, or guides? Maybe your blog that could just be a starting point to start learning.
Yeah. So there's, Jeff, people like you and I think we're about the same age. We read a lot and listen to a lot of podcasts. So that's our education. You know, college didn't really do it. It just kind of gives us a degree. We can go get a job, but on the job learning is how we learn. So you guys really need to be reading blogs and books and listening to good podcasts. The Thrivecast is our podcast, and let's see if I put that link on there. Down there at the bottom, you can see thriveal.com/podcast. We've got 3.5 years of podcasts that you should probably go listen to. They're fun to listen to. We goof off, and so I would definitely go listen to those. If you're in a firm and you're really making your own changes away from timesheets and the value pricing, a guy named Ron Baker is a guy who really wrote the book, Implementing Value Pricing. It's pretty hard read. He's an economics guy, former CPA. He's actually speaking at Deeper Weekend. If you do anything and you come to Deeper Weekend in November, you will be with the most intense creative community from all over the world. And these are the crazy people doing crazy stuff, and they love new family members. So if you come to Deeper Weekend and say, I want to launch my firm January 1st, 2016, let your visit to Deeper Weekend be your journey into that. If you don't join the incubator first, in the incubator we're building that division so that will help people that are ready to make that change. But it is scary, and I know that. But that's why we're building this division to say we will take you through this. And it's run by a guy who's blown up his firm multiple times. And I'm kind of the CEO of Thriveal, so I don't teach in the incubator, but these divisional leaders, you'll get to meet them at Deeper Weekend, and they're just crazy people that are doing amazing things, but they're very caring people. They want to help people succeed. So, yeah, join the incubator. Now that's like a $3,200 to $3,500 cost because it's a 9 to 12 month program. You're going to be walked through with mentors and things like that in there. But if you can't do that, then listen to our podcast, read our blog, come to Deeper Weekend if you can. That's an $850 ticket every November. So anyway, those are some things that people can do.
Last one, and this is one of those questions that requires a very long answer, but I'm going to ask you to give a short answer.
Okay.
Okay, and because it's actually one that I want to ask too, but is it better to buy an existing firm with a retiring CPA or start up a firm on your own? So basically, buy a book of clients or go out and build one on your own, and I know you've thought about this question before.
Oh, man. Our community just fights about this so much. I guess I would say if you can buy a firm that gives you an immediate income, then that's probably not a bad idea. You're going to do a lot of work over the next 2 or 3 years to change that. But if you buy a firm, you can immediately get into Thriveal. We actually have people right now that have bought firms, come into Thriveal, and we're like, all right, we're doing the hard work of changing that client base, but at least he has an income. It certainly can get you an income immediately. We're not big on buying a bunch of firms and buying up firms and merging, because that's just putting, in our profession, crap with crap and making another crap company from culture. We're into building our own companies. But if you want to start with buying a firm, not a bad idea. You just have a lot of work to do to change it, but that's okay. We're all changing everything anyway. So
I love it.
So
let's wrap this up. So we have a handful of questions that I didn't want to get to just simply because we were starting to run out. We're 10 minutes over.
Yep.
But Jason, this email, info@thriveal.com, is that the place to email you if somebody had a follow-up question? You've got
Right. Yep, right there at the bottom. Yeah, and sometimes it takes me a couple of days to get back to people, so bear with me on being patient on getting back to you, but I will.
Let me make two housekeeping announcements here. So, I've gotten a lot of comments, and Jason, you can check the questions panel on your GoToWebinar panel of some comments that you might want to take a look at that I think are really exciting. But the webinar, and you wouldn't mind emailing me, jeff@accountingfly.com, your thoughts on the session, why it was specifically valuable or not for you. I'd appreciate that. We really like to see testimonials because it helps us guide the content. And you'll be asked a quick survey at the end of this as well to just give us a 3-question, did you like this or not? Also, it'll ask you what do you want to hear about in the future. But I prefer the emails just so I know if something particularly spoke to you or not. Don't forget about building AccountingFly profile and the benefits of that. We're going to have all of the recordings. We're going to send everybody recordings from the entire weeks of webinars. We're putting that together right now, so hopefully today or maybe Monday we'll have that out to you, and they'll be posted. And we're also going to follow up probably today on the Zero offer. That's if you're on the Zero, we're going to offer free training. A free training class, which I think is great, with Evan Hall, who's going to teach you how to get started on Zero, which is free, which is fantastic, $250 value. And then we're going to pick a winner for the CPA Excel course, the one lucky winner for the 2900 Platinum course. I told you this was going to be the most fun webinar that we had all week. Jason, I really appreciate you.
Sure.
I'm taking notes, man, and and I'm a long way from being out of school, so I know there are some people who you connected with, and that's what I know you were hoping to do, right?
Oh yeah.
So thanks a lot for doing this. I think this has been fantastic.
Yeah, I can't thank you enough. We're trying to get the message of Thriveal in our community and how we can help the profession change, and it's slow because we can't advertise and just invite a bunch of accountants to our community because most of them just won't fit. So we just have to be a word of mouth community, and this is how we get the word out. So Jeff, this is a big deal to me, man. I appreciate you letting me come and talk. So thanks so much.
The pleasure's all ours. As we're rolling down into 2015, we're going to start a program where we're going to teach accounting students how to start their own firms.
Cool.
And Jason hopefully going to be a part of that, and we're going to bring software and some other training and guidance. So definitely follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook so we can get some more announcements out about that, but be looking for that in 2015. All right, that's going to wrap things up. Jason, thank you very much.
All right, man.
It's been a great hour with you, a little bit over an hour, and thank all of you on the call. Thanks for being a part of this, everybody. We're going to close up the webinar. Have an awesome weekend. Make the best of it, and we'll talk to you down the road.
We'll see.